It's a Monday morning, I'm sitting in my car and I'm wearing my pink top, so it must be time for another med school vlog. Welcome to Monday. I have got my coffee here and I've just parked out the front of my clinical school, and when I say out the front I mean like a kilometre away because that's the only place you can get parking. But anyway, I am about to walk into my clinical school and have my Monday. This is the musculoskeletal block. I'm actually getting taught by physios today which is really cool, so I thought it would be a good week to do a vlog because I've got some interesting perspectives, I think, and a unique perspective on this block of classes. And I also have an exam this week and a few other exciting things going on. So yes, let's see what the week holds, shall we? So I'm home now. What happened in my day? So from 8 till 9 we had a session with the physios, which was very cool. So we've been learning musculoskeletal stuff, and so today was examination of the lower limb, so learning how to assess the hip, the knee, and the ankle. For the last few weeks we've been learning musk exams for like the upper limb, the spine, and the lower limb, and we get a medical perspective and we get to go practice on the wards, and then we have an hour class each week with the physios as well. So I really like it because I think it shows, obviously the physios do a more in-depth musculoskeletal assessment than the medical side of it would, but it just helps you to kind of piece everything together. And being a physio, I think it's great that medical students are getting more of a 360-degree view of healthcare and what every person in the team does to take care of the patient. Tute group and I just decided to do some study because we've got an anatomy exam coming up this Thursday, so we decided to do some group study where we just kind of got out on the whiteboard and started drawing out everything we knew about like the upper limb and lower limb nerves and the blood vessels, and then we started doing histology, and we did that for quite a few hours and it was actually really good. I'm starting to really realize the value of group study. It's a lot easier and, I don't know, more fun than studying by yourself, so that was really good. And then we had our physical exam tute where we went over the shoulder exam, and then we did our communication tutorial where we were talking about rheumatoid arthritis and how to take a rheumatoid arthritis history, and then how you would refer in a multidisciplinary team. So that is my last clinical day of the musculoskeletal block. So when I go back in a few weeks, it is going to be respiratory, which I'm really excited about because musculoskeletal has been some new knowledge, but mostly revision for me. And so I'm really excited to get into resp in a few weeks. It is Game of Thrones night. It's the Game of Thrones finale. So I'm just really excited to watch that. So I'm chaining myself to my desk. I've got to study now and make dinner, and then I'm allowed to watch it later on. Can we all just please appreciate how cool my anatomy app is? Look at its heart beating. I mean, I'm not going to give you my review of Game of Thrones because I'm sure there's enough of those going around, but I feel empty. Sorry guys, it's Tuesday afternoon and I have forgotten to pick up my camera today, so rookie error by me, bad vlogging. But I had a pretty busy morning. I've just been at uni and I had my TBL, which is my team-based learning, and today we were concentrating on osteoarthritis. So it was a pretty good TBL. I feel like we're all pretty on top of OA, so it was kind of just nice to not be too stressed about that. And then I had a bit of a practice quiz for this block, just so general musk knowledge of some of the diseases that we've covered. And then I had what we call a flipped lecture. So we basically get a whole lot of online content for a particular disease process, which we do independently. We then do a quiz online to test our own knowledge, and then we can submit questions to the lecturer, and then the lecturer makes a face-to-face lecture based on where our knowledge deficits are. So I just had my face-to-face lecture on gout, and gout is like weirdly interesting. Like, I didn't know that there were so many really crazy biochemical processes that happen with gout. I just thought it was like a chronic inflammatory process, and that is not the case. You actually form monosodium urate crystals in your joints, which cause pain and inflammation. So I'm actually really enjoying learning about that. Is that weird? I know gout's like a bit of a gross name, but anyway, it's kind of cool. So it's now about 3 p.m. I've just got home and I'll show you my bed. I've just like strewn all the contents of my bag out and I'm going to put that away and do some lectures. So here is an informal what is in a med student's bag. This afternoon I am learning about rheumatoid arthritis. It's pretty complicated actually, but it's actually a lot of immunology, which is not my strongest subject, but I always find it quite interesting. Rightio, so I'm just about to head out and have some dinner with some friends, and then we might be going to check out a new bar that is not far from my house. So I think I'm excited. I think it's good to like, you know, do things that aren't med school sometimes. So I'm gonna show you my outfit because I'm like, got these new pants and I love them. They're from Gorman and they're like these really fun bright pink pants. I've got them rolled up, but they're full length. I just love independent learning days for my sleep-ins. I feel like every week I catch up on my sleep. Is that right? Probably not. It's probably not right. I'm probably meant to get up and like engage in my life and future career, but instead I sleep and I just feel like it's the best use of my time just ever. So while I'm having my coffee, I thought maybe we should have a little chat. And you know, in your life when things start with let's have a chat, it's never going to be a good chat, but I'm not breaking up with you, I promise. It's just that I really think that it's important that we talk about the recent abortion laws in America, and I think it's important because it's an issue of human rights, I think, as far as I'm concerned, and I think as far as many women are concerned. I mean, I can only give you my personal response to this, but it's an emotional one, I'm not gonna lie. I think particularly because whilst I am aware of politics overseas, and particularly in America, it's often in the media, so I understand that it's a conservative government, I understand all the things that you know, are going along with the Trump presidency, and I get it. But I never actually believed that this sort of thing would happen. I didn't think that in a democracy where women are just over half of the population that these sorts of laws would pass. It's troubling. And as a woman, it's difficult to not feel as though, I guess, we're being attacked, really. I think that by taking abortion rights away from women, we're taking away a lot of freedoms. It's already hard for women to access abortions in many places of the world. We don't need to be going backwards in societies that are more established. And I think for me, my response has been kind of tuned in more by the fact that I went to an abortion seminar. Actually, it was like quite timely. I went to an abortion seminar last week that was run by my university, by the OBGYN Society. Ran a really great seminar on abortion, and we were really lucky to have somebody who was trained as an obstetrician but worked in abortions, or in Planned Parenthood essentially, and a midwife, and then somebody who worked in the New South Wales government. It was great to get a really wide perspective on abortion from all three of those women, and what shocked me was that I didn't realise that in New South Wales, in Australia, abortion is actually still illegal. And I feel like I've been living under a rock because I thought that in Australia abortion was legal and that it was accessible for everybody, but it's not. And I also learned that in the states where it is legal, women, it's still privatized, and so it costs a lot of money to have an abortion. So women who are disadvantaged, or maybe from a different cultural background, or just have difficulties with access for multiple reasons, still actually can't access these abortions. And the thoughts that I had last week before these laws passed in America, I was thinking how awful it is that it keeps the disadvantaged disadvantaged. It keeps poor people poor, and it keeps women in their place. Essentially, it keeps women pregnant and at home and not out in the workforce and not choosing the lives we want to live. And I mean, I guess I want to preface this by saying that I think babies are awesome, and I think that if you want to have babies, like, go for it, it's great. I just think that these laws are a backward step. It feels like a war on women. I'm sending all my love to all of our American women who live in the states of Alabama and Missouri, and I really hope that we can band together and show these politicians this is not a world that we want to live in. We deserve equality, and we deserve freedom of choice, and we deserve to have power over our own bodies. So I'm on my way to uni now to do some study. So I mentioned earlier in the week that I have this exam on Thursday, which is now tomorrow, and it's a practical exam for anatomy and histology. Excuse the croakiness, I'm still getting over this cold. Yeah, so basically what that entails is tomorrow I'm going to go into the anatomy lab, and there will be prosections on the table, and a prosection is a cadaver that's kind of been dissected to show like specific parts of the anatomy, and there'll be labels, and so on different muscles or ligaments, attachments or arteries or nerves, and I need to be able to identify what those structures are. And so there'll be 7 stations with 5 pins each of that, and then there's going to be histology sections which have like a picture of something that's under the microscope, and I need to be able to identify the types of cells, the types of tissue, and kind of different elements of that. So I need to go and do some study. I'm actually feeling okay. Anatomy I've done before, so it's more just revision, but histology I've never done before, and even though there's only 3 stations, it's still 15 questions, and it can really stuff me up, or has been in my practice tests. So yeah, I'm gonna head in now and go to the museum, which has specimens in there for me to look at, and yeah, I'll practice some of those and see how we go. I'm back in bed. I feel like with winter, I just like have this propensity to just like retreat to my bed like all of the time. Does anybody else do that when you're cold, so you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go to bed? I do that, and I'm in Sydney and it's not even that cold. Like, oh, this is a problem. I need to be like more disciplined about the bed situation. But anyway, here I am. I mean, it is 11:30 at night, to be fair, so I feel like I'm allowed to be in bed. Anyway, I digress. I was checking in to say that it's my anatomy exam tomorrow. I'm feeling prepared-ish. I'm feeling pretty prepared. So that's exciting. I'm going to be happy to get that over and done with. But also, I just was about to like nestle into bed, and I got a bunch of messages through from the Critical Care Society subcommittee that I'm a part of, which if you have watched my last week in the life vlog, I think I talked then about being on the Emergency Medicine Challenge Committee, and so that is where a bunch of students from clinical schools make teams and get together, and we have a 7-station scenario day where where students have to come and deal with trauma situations, and we like mark them, and by we I mean doctors mark them, and then at the end they win a prize, the team with the most points. And I am in charge of creating a patient scenario station, which is very exciting, and the challenge is actually coming up this Saturday. So excuse me, I just got a bunch of messages through from the committee being like, oh, we need to change all of this stuff and move things from my case, like the marking sheet, onto a different sheet, and they kind of want it done now. So I was like about to nestle into bed, but I feel like if I don't do it now, I won't have time tomorrow, because I've got my exam at midday and I'll want to go through that in the morning. So I'm just gonna like cram some of that together now. My scenario is pretty much done. I just have to go over the final checks on Friday with it. So yeah, I'm excited to see how the challenge goes and see how our scenarios that we've been planning for like, you know, at least about a month or so now come together in real life. I think it's going to be really exciting. Hello, it's Thursday morning finally, and today is the day of my anatomy and histology exam. So it's about 9:30 in the morning. I have just been having my breakfast and getting myself together, and then I'm going to give myself about an hour and a half now to do some final revision, and then I'm going to leave home at about 11 to get to my exam by midday. So I realized yesterday I kind of just threw out there the word like prosection and you know, specimens, live specimens, and didn't really kind of talk too much about it. But yeah, essentially I'm really lucky at my school. We have a lab that is equipped with real cadavers and people that have donated their body to science, and we are very lucky. I feel super privileged to be able to be in a learning environment where I get to see the body in real life. I know that some unis are steering away from that now, so I personally, whilst it has been confronting in the past, when I was a physio student over a decade ago, I did this as well, and back then I probably went through the emotional journey of seeing body parts that were no longer alive for the first time was quite confronting. And you know, there's certain kind of things about the environment, like the temperature and the smell and things like that, that can really get to people. And so I was lucky that I went through all of that stuff quite a long time ago. So this time when I went into the labs, it wasn't much of a change for me, although it is still always quite startling, some of the stuff that you do see, some body parts. So yeah, so I guess that's kind of, yeah, I just wanted to kind of cover that off in a little bit more detail for you. Exam is all done. Very excited to have it over with. It kind of feels like it's a Friday night, even though it's only Thursday, because you know that really good feeling you get when you walk out of an exam and you just have all of the weight of the world off your shoulders and you're like ready for holidays. That's how I feel. So I have to go to one more day of classes tomorrow, but I'm actually feeling pretty chill and very relaxed. So my exam went okay, I think. I definitely know a few questions that I got wrong. I think they were probably on the histology component. It's new to me and not my strength, but I think all in all, I will have got enough to get a pass and hopefully a slightly higher mark if I can. So I just left the house of one of my co-students, and we're running the emergency medicine challenge for the Critical Care Society, which is on this Saturday. So I'm really excited. We just went through my case from the station that I'm helping to run and that I've written. And yeah, we kind of finalised everything, finalised all of the props we're going to need. We're getting a proper makeup artist to go through and do all of the, like, make our patients look like they've really been through the wars. So it's going to be really exciting, I think. And so now I'm just heading into uni. I've got classes pretty much all day from about 10 till 4, and then I'm going to head out with my friends tonight to celebrate the end of our Musk block. It is officially the end of the musculoskeletal block. I'm so excited. I feel like this block, even though it's only been 6 weeks, has been quite a long haul. I don't know why. I think I had a bit of just like a generalized fatigue hangover from foundations. So I'm really glad for it to be over. I'm really glad to be having 2 weeks off. I am on my way home after my TBL, last TBL of the week. It was on rheumatoid arthritis, which was actually a very interesting topic, and it was actually kind of difficult for me to get my head around. So I like a challenge, but we got there in the end. So now I'm gonna go home, get ready to head out with my friends to celebrate being 4 months into med school. It is now the next Monday and my week is done. So I forgot to film at all really after Friday, but I had the emergency medical challenge on Saturday. It went really well. I think all of the students really enjoyed the kind of event that we put together, and all of our stations were really well received, and I feel like the doctors enjoyed themselves and were amazing helps, and we all learnt a lot about a lot of different medical cases. So it was just such a great day, and then I finished off on Sunday by working a shift at the hospital. So that is the end of my week. I am now on 2 weeks of holidays. I'm going to work a little bit, hopefully go home to visit my family for a little bit as well, and just generally relax before I head into my next block, which is respiratory. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate everybody watching my vlogs. Please continue to comment, ask me questions, etc. Let me know what sorts of videos you want to keep seeing from me, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. See ya!